Welcome to this Python tutorial on number data type. My name is Laxon Montali and welcome to Coding with Laxon. Before we get started, let's quickly go through some basic terminology. A data type is a category for values. For example, the number data type includes the values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Python has several different data types, and today we'll focus on the number data type. To start, let's look at the main types of numbers in Python: integers and floats. So this is how you declare a, okay, I thought I was coding in that. So anyway, integers, you can just maybe say integers. So I'll just maybe call the first variable num1. So we'll just say maybe like num integer 1 is equals to 20, and num integer 2 is equals to -5. Just say -5. So when it comes to integers are non-fractional numbers. So I'll just say integers are non-fractional numbers, meaning they don't have any decimal place. That's what it means. So meaning they don't have any decimal place. Now let's try to declare floats. So just a floats. So floats are fractional numbers. Fractional numbers, meaning they have a decimal place. You have a decimal place here. So we can just say now float 1 is equals to 0.5, I'll say, and now float 2 is equals to, maybe just say maybe negative 20.5 or something. Yeah. So that's how we declare. And the other thing that we have to know, you guys, is that you can also do some arithmetic operations with these numbers. So meaning that you can add, you can subtract, you can do some division, you can also do some multiplication. So let's try to do some arithmetic operations. Let's try to print the sum of num integer 1 and num float 1. Float 1. So yeah, let's try to save this and let's try to run this. So the sum will be 20.5. So if you add 20 plus 0.5, of course, it's going to give you 20.5. That's the answer there. So you can also do some subtraction. It's going to give you 19.5, because if you subtract 20, if you subtract 0.5 from 20, it's going to give you 19.5, as you can see here. So let's try to clean our screen so that you guys can see properly. So that's another thing. Then we can also do some division. For this one, I think let me just try to just remove the negative from that one. And we just say num integer 1 divide by num integer 2. You can just say num integer 2. So when it's something that's not complicated, okay. So here we have divided 5 into 20, and it has given us 4.0, as you can see. So this one is on its own. This one, it's the answer. It will give you, if you use the single forward slash, it's gonna give you a float. But if you use 2 forward slash, they are these two, this one or this one, they are all division. But this one with 2 forward slashes, it's gonna give you an integer. I don't know what's the name for this one, but I think it has a name or something like that. It's one of the operators. I just forgotten the name. I think it has a name. Yeah. So So this one is gonna give you like it's gonna give you an integer, but the other one will give you a float, as you can see here. So there'll be a decimal place here, so which makes it a float. Yeah, so then you can also do some multiplication, of course, using the asterisk symbol. I don't know whether that's a correct pronunciation, but yeah, that's a symbol there. That's the operator that you'll be using to do some multiplication when it comes to programming. So it's gonna give you 100. The reason why it's gonna give you 100 is because 520s. It's if you add 520s together, it's gonna give you 100. That's the thing. So yeah, you can also do the same thing with floats and other stuff like that. Yeah. So apart from doing some arithmetic operations, you can also do some I would say comparison. Like you can compare now, you can compare these data types, or you can compare these values. That's what I can. Yeah, I think. Yeah, you can do that. So let's just say maybe we want to see whether number integer. Let's just say num integer 1 is equals to. So we can just use the two equals sign. So the single equal sign is used to assign a value to a variable. So this one, it means that this number will be assigned to this, or this number will be assigned to this, just like that. So we use two equal signs to compare whether two numbers are equal instead of one. Because if you use one, it's more like you're trying to assign the value to the variable or something. So here we're going to do this, and this will result into a boolean. It's one of the data types that's in Python, and I'm sure you guys are going to learn about this. So yeah, so there's number one. If number one is equal to number two, num integer two, sorry, not even float. Okay, I can even use float, it's fine. So if I run this, it's gonna say false. The reason it's gonna say false is because num integer one is 20, and num float two it's negative 20.5. But if I do this, let's just say, okay, this one, let's just leave it the way it is. Let's try to maybe change this one into 20 so that we can just use it here so that you guys can see that it's gonna say it's equal to actually. So if we do this, because both of them they are 20, 20, 20. So if we do this and try to compare them again, it's gonna say true because 20 is equals to 20. But if we do this, if we say is num integer 1, which is 20, greater than num integer 2, it's gonna say false because 20 is not greater than 20. Okay, let me just save this. Sorry about that. I think I'm supposed to save it and run this again. So it's gonna say false because 20 is not greater than 20. So here if we change, we just maybe like put 5 again, it's gonna say true because 20 is greater than 5, as you can see here. So you can do all these. You can also do some less than as well. It's pretty much the same thing. It's gonna give you a boolean that will be true or false. So here you can do the same thing. So you run this, it would say it's false because 20 is not less than 5, as you can see here. So that's what's happening. And let's just say maybe you want to say it's not equal to. So if you want to use not equal to, actually you can just use the something like this. So this, it means not equal to, meaning that these two numbers, they are not equal to, which is true. So 20 is not equal to um, 5. So if we change this, of course, just put like 20 here, so it should be 20, 20. So this one is going to result to false because 20 is equal to 20, and we're asking whether 20 is not equal to 20. So it's going to give you false. So these are some of the amazing things that you can do with numbers. And there's another thing that you can do actually just to make it interesting. Actually, there's some things that you can use. There's some functions, some inbuilt functions that you can use just to convey, I would say. Um, so you can also convey between different data types. So for example, you can use the int function to convert a float to an integer. So for example, we can say maybe it's like this one, the way it is. we can just say maybe like this one is 1.5. So we can print or we can convert num float one, this one, into an integer. So what we can do for us to do this, let me just delete this. I don't even know why I did that. So I'm supposed to use the inbuilt function. It's called int, and I pass in the value that I want to convert into an integer. So from float to an integer. So this one, as you can see here. So if you want to read more about this function, you can just hover on top of the function if you're using VS Code. And I don't know much about other IDEs, but yeah, if you're using VS Code, you can do that, and you can just read more about the function. So as you can see here, so it's in a convert a number or string, convert a number or string to an integer. So you can even pass in a string here to convert into an integer, or return 0 if no arguments are given. So if you don't pass anything, it's gonna return 0. So if x is a number, return x integer for floating point numbers. So this truncates towards 0. So if x is not a number, or if base is given, the x must be a string, bytes, or binary. So these are some of the things that you can you can learn more about all these things. So anyway, let's try to just by hovering, you can read more and find out how the function works and all the stuff like that. So let's try to print this. Let's try to run this. Let's clear the screen first. You see what happens. So here, as you can see, it automatically converts it to 1. The reason why is because it's 1.5, so it removes the decimal and just give you 1. What if it's 0.5? What happens? So if it's 0.5 and we run this, it's gonna give you 0. So in short, what's happening here, it's going to ignore whatever is on the other side of the decimal and give you the other side of the decimal. So that's what's happening with this function. And let's try also to convert an integer into a float. We can also do that using a float function. So this one is pretty much the same thing. If you want to read, you can convert a string or number to a floating point. So just hover on top of it, a number to a floating point if possible. So that's what it is. So here we can just pass in, let's just say, let's pass in num integer 1 here. So we want to convert this number into a float. So if we run this, k, it's going to give us 20.0, as you can see here. So just to find out and to be sure that whatever that we are doing right now, it's really converting into something else, I'm going to give you, like, there's this function that we use to check the data type of a variable, or of the value that you have passed in actually. So what you can do, you can just say it's called type, then you pass in whatever that you want to pass in. So example, like if we pass in num integer 1, and if we run this, you notice that let's just clear this. You notice that it will tell you that it's of an integer. It's of the what integer data type here. And if we pass in this one here, it's gonna tell you that it's a float. Let's run this. It's gonna tell you that it's a float because this one is a float. So here, what we'll do is we want to find out the value of the value of what we're going to convert from this. So here we're trying to convert the num integer 1 to a float. Then after we do this, we want to check the data type now, the new data type. So here we can just do this. We clear the screen again and we run this. They need to tell you that it's a float. The reason why it's telling you it's a float is because this function has converted the value that we have passed in here. And after it's done doing that, we are checking the type of the new value now that has been converted to. So now that's why I need to tell you that it's a float or something. Yeah. So finally, you can use comparison operators, of which we have already done that, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll say this concludes this tutorial on data types in Python. So thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe.